Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Tam Sajivam Savetam Savatuntam Parijana Sehitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Tamscha Adhyana Chavrindasya Yanjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namahum Vishnu Padaya Guru Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Bhagavati Name Vandeham Bhaktiparam Purangani Chakrisham Srimate Bhaktivedanta Namaskritam Shri Kanishkam Sayana Katamatam Sankirtanam Anandam Sasamam Om Vishnu Padaya Gatikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayana Tinamine Shri Krishna Nikatani Sudaksham Dari Madhuri Vinay Shreyatam Virambaranyam Krishnamatam Vamshasamami Om Vishnu Padaya Shri Keshava Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Vamini Tinamine Gaura Bhavamaya Deha Varasa Bhavaka Bhaktivedanta Bhava Bhakti Pravartanta Gamita Sivasu Vaishnave Sarvadhamati Dante Bhagavate Sakshaku Samvedante Rati Namahum Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Dinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Shtati Deshikayine Namahum Vishnu Padaya Shrisimha Rupine Shishima Bhakti Pragyana Keshavidhi Namine Rantimacha Charitraya Swashitanam Chapavine Jivaduke Sadarkaya Shinam Prema Dayine Gaurishaya Vigrahaya Krishnakamaya Charine Rupanuga Privaraya Vinodeti Swamubine Prabhupalantarangaya Sarvasa Gurusharine Maya Balatamogranaya Bhaktavade Namaha Namahum Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhundare Shrimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Dinamine Shri Varshavana Videvi Jayataya Kripadaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhave Namaha Madhurtvala Premaja Shri Vanuga Bhaktira Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostate Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Nirtare Rupanuga Purapasiddhantarvantahare Namo Gauri Kishoraya Sakshadvairagya Murtaye Vipranamada Sambhude Padambujayate Namaha Namo Bhaktivedantaya Satchidananda Namine Gaurashakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Guruvibhavamestam Nishtasarjanapriya Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jagatayate Namaha Vanchakalpatarvyascha Kripasindhubhyayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishna Chaitanya Name Gauravishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopikanta Radhakanta Namostute Tapta Kanishna Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Jayatam Surato Pongo Mama Namate Akiti Matsara Sapalamujo Radha Madana Mohano Divyan Vrindaranya Kapadumara Shmada Pragarasimhastanishto Shima Radha Shivagovinda Devo Krishnamiti Sevamasudami Shima Rasarasudambi Vamshi Vatatatashkitaha Karshanyane Swane Gopi Gopinath Shrestana Vrindayet Lasi Devyai Priyayate Shabascha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavate Namo Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Tavataram Muktakyam Namami Bhakti Shaktikam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Page 20. Shri Guru Charana Kama Kevana Bhakti Sana Vandamuri Sagadana Mate Jara Prasade Vai Eva Gauriya Jai Krishna Prati Hoy Jaha Hoy Guru Padma Gaya Chitete Gauriya Kya Anna Kori Homane Asha Shri Guru Charane Rati Ese Tomavati Jai Prasade Pure Sarva Asha Chakshudam Dina Jai Janme Prabhu Se Divya Gyan Hriday Prakasito Prema Bhakti Jaha Hote Anvirya Vinasha Jakte Vinagam Jaha Daksha Vidya Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Shokamana Lokera Devana Hava Prabhu Daya Devamari Parachoya Tumapaya Shara Evita Sushuki Bhavana Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada. Page 23. Krishna hoite chato ka hoya Krishna seva muka Rama hoite nara dera mahati nara hoite vyasa madhukaya vyasa dasa Tapragna Bhagavati Nirhari Bhagavamse Akshoya Paramanse Shishabodhiyangi Karakohore Abhyogera Shesha Jaya Tirthanami Parijaya Taradasya Gyasindhuto Hore Tavoite Goya Nidhi Taradasya Vidyadhi Dajandra Huriro Taho Huite Tahara Kinkara Joya Dharma Parijaya Paramaja Mohate Jayadase Kyati Shipurushatam Bhajati Date Damanya Tekasohuri Yasate Tatara Dasa Lakshmi Pati Vyasa Dasa Dhamate Madhavendra Puri Madhavendra Puripada Shri Shishvara Shri Ishvara Nityananda Shri Advaita Vibhu Ishvara Puri Chaitanya Gauranga Shri Chaitanya Jagadguru Guru Mahaprabhu Mahaprabhu Shri Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nityananda Rupanujana Rajivara Vishambhara Priyankara Shri Sarupa Damodara Shri Goswami Rupa Sanatana Rupa Priya Mahadana Jiva Raghunatana Dana Priya Kavi Krishna Dasa Krishna Dasa Priya Varandara Chara Seva Para Chara Para Vishwanatha Hasha Vishwanathan Bhakta Satta Bande Jagannatha Dana Priya Shiva Kevinora Mahabhagavata Vara Shri Gaura Kishora Vara Hari Bhajanate Jaramura Shiva Shabani Vara Dasa Dasana Hama Prabhupada Antaranga Shri Sarupa Rupanuga Shri Keshavakasi Pragyahana Gaudiya Vedanta Vetana Varotamahanta Gauravani Pracharachada Hama Prachariro Gauravani Bhakati Vedanta Swami Puranido Prabhupada Hama Keshapriya Mahajana Vamandana Dayantana Gauravani Tade Pramandana Esabhari Janam Gurangeran Nija Jana Tarara Uchiste Morakama Guru Parampara Guru Parampara Parampara Guru Parampara Guru Parampara Guru Parampara Parampara Guru Parampara. Page 36. Vrindavanavasi Jato Vaishnavera Grahana Pratame Vandana Kori Sabarakcharahana Nilachana Vasi Yato Mahaprabhu Bhumite Pudiya Bando Sabaracharahana Navadvipa Vasiyato Mahaprabhu Bhakta Sabaracharahana Bando Oyananda Bhakta Mahaprabhu Bhakta Yato Gaurashestiti Sabaracharana Bando Gauriya Pranahati Jayeshe Jayeshe Paise Gaurangera Gara Urvabahu Gauri Vando Sabaracharahana Hoyachena Hoyena Gauriyatam Dahasa Sabaracharana Vando Jatakauri Dahasa Brahmanda Purite Shakti Daya Jana Edera Purana Guru Jaya Jevasune Mahaprabhu Jana Patita Pavanam Tayi Lope Mui Papi Lovi Nishadana Vandana Purite Shakti Mukti Vandana Purite Mukti Santo Shakti Dori Jamuri Doshimu Dhamma Kori Tatapi Mukher Vandamara Nasa Tukshakshami Modame Karuni Jadasa Sarvam Bantuste Hor, Yamam Bandachute, Jagate Dvallabho, Prematandute, Mane Radasana Puna, Hachirate Hoya, Devaki Nandana Dasa, Elo Pekoya. Jayo Vaishnav Thakur, Jayo Vaishnav Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur, Jayo Vaishnav Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur, Jayo Vaishnav Thakur. Page 200. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Shri Vedoya Puri Swaparshasiyantama Sahavatari Atyantadulava Prema Korivaritana Shikaye Sharanagati Bhaktate Dukana Ajamgatanyatmani Vedana Gopitrevarahana Avashalakshmi Krishna Vishwasapanahana Bhaktiyanukula Bhava Vajaranti Bhaktiyanukula Matra Gaya Rasikara Bhakti Pratikula Bhava Vajarantika Hara Sharanga Sharanagati Oriveja Hara Hara Pradani Shune Shinanda Kumara Rupasanatana Pare Dante Kriyana Kori Bhakati Vinora Pare Dupada Dori Kandiya Kandiya Mune Amitanda Shikaya Sharanagati Korore Dudama Jaya Prakashara Korari Prakashara Korari. Page 86. Gauranga Muni Hari Purakashari Hira Hari Hari Poli Tena Jai Bhakti Hira Arakami Kajare Karnai Samsara Vasana Mura Kaliduchari Vishaya Chaliya Kali Jurahave Mahana Kali Ramaye Rahu Shri Vrindavana Rupara Gunata Pare Raghunath Pade Raghumarasha Pratama Karune Sanda Narottama Dasa Jai Gita Jai Go Jai Gita Jai Go. Page 341. 343. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Bande Manasamakaram Aparnijapara Pankaja Makarande Krishna Deva Bhavantam Bande Yadyapi Samachunirapi Prajati Natavanakadamurishim Idamichamisham Yatavatuta Tarapi Kripantujarishim Krishna Deva Bhavantam Bande Deva Bhavantam Bande Patirudam Jatiyaryapi Madhava Napayamamati Namati Parameshwarata Parapitavadika Surgasaratnamihari Krishna Deva Bhavantam Bande Krishna Deva Bhavantam Bande Ayamato Tathayarisanatan Kanitantra Sambharam Nivasatyamedhyamaritanindini Vindamarumasaram Krishna Deva Bhavantam Bande Krishna Deva Bhavantam Bande Krishna 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 So I'll read the English. O Krishna, O Deva, I'm offering a prayer to you. Kindly place the me of my mind in the honey of your lotus feet. Although Brahman, full samadhi, cannot catch the glimpse of the ray of the effulgence emanating from the tips of your toenails, still, O Achyuta, having heard of the waves of your astonishing mercy, I long to receive your grace. O Madhava, although it necessitates me to walk before you, still, since with a supreme controller, you can make the impossible possible. O Sanatana, because your lotus feet are filled with the most wonderful rus, that the bee of my mind always reside unwaveringly in that nectar, which puts everything else to shame, for the essence of all sweetness. And then page 341. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Gokulatayuni Mandalamite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Radhe Madhavadeshe Arinuta Vrindavineshe Radhe Madhavadeshe Arinuta Vrindavineshe Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhavadeshe Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhavadeshe Krishnamandani Namashashileke Namita Saki Gunuramita Vishake Krishnamandani Namashashileke Namita Saki Gunuramita Vishake Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhavadeshe Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhavadeshe Karunam Gurunai Karunam Varite Sanaka Sanata Vartacharite Karunam Purnamani Karuna Varite Sanaka Sanata Vartacharite Jai 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 Madhava Jai 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 Madhava Jai Radhe Jai Radhe Jai Radhe Jai Shri Radhe Jai Radhe Jai Radhe Jai Radhe Jai Shri Radhe. Oh God, all glories to you, O beloved Mata. Your glories are sung by the circle of beautiful maidens of Goku. O you whose attire increases Damodar's affection, O queen of the Vrindavan forest, with the pleasure garden of Sri Hari. From the ocean of Rishabhanu Maharaj you arise at the new moon. O dear most friend of Lalita, O you who captivate the heart of Vishaka with your charming qualities, bestow your compassion upon me, O you who bring with compassion. Your transcendental qualities and character are described by Sanakana, Sanaka, and Sanatana. Would I like to read the mantra? If you have minutes.
Can I sing it or I just chant it?
Sing.
What's that?
Sing. You're done.
Oh. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Nitai Gaur Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gaur Hari Bo, Nitai Gaur Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gaur Hari Bo.
Jai.
supposed to say something at the end, I think.
That was perfect.
Okay. Jai Gora.
Beautiful. And so, so one thing Guru Devi really emphasizes to us is that there's the importance of honoring the Vaishnavas on their tithis. And their tithis means like their important days when they've left the vision of the world or when they've appeared in the world. And I'm going to turn away. And so this was is the red live right above my head.
Yeah.
Okay.
On
On air.
air, yeah.
Okay, cool. So Guru Devi has one Diksha Guru, Srila Prabhupada, and two Shiksha Gurus, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj and Srila Bhakti Vigam Bharati Goswami Maharaj, who is all the way at the end there. And so one of the great contributions of Srila Bharati Maharaj is he emphasized in honoring Vaishnavas, teaching us Vaishnav etiquette, and then also the importance of honoring them on their days. There's a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam that simply by remembering the Vaishnavas, everything inauspicious is destroyed, and all good fortune comes to oneself, and eventually one gains knowledge enriched with realization and renunciation. And so he also, Srila Bharati Maharaj usually says, you know, it's our all auspiciousness, all good things come to us by remembering them, especially on their days, and all bad obstacles come in our way of our bhakti if we fail to remember them on their days. And so we remember them. Thankfully, there are so many. Thankfully, he shared with us how many Vaishnavas there are, and really illuminated for us who they are, where they are, when they are. In fact, even Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhakti Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, one of the first instructions he received from his great-grandfather Guru, Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, was to compile the calendar of all the great appearance and disappearance days because of how important this is for us to remember them on their days. Their mercy is flowing even more on those days, on these days. And so yesterday was the appearance day of Isvara Puripada, and we listened to some of the audiobook. We listened to some Chaitanya Charitamrita audiobook about him. Today we'll read a little bit about his life. Are either of you familiar with Isvara Puri?
A little bit.
What do you know?
Wasn't he like Lord Chaitanya's spiritual master?
Huh?
Yeah.
He was the guru of Lord Chaitanya. He received, and I'm sure that we'll go into it in this.
He was a disciple of Madhavendra Puri?
He was a disciple of Madhavendra. Exactly. And so, okay, let's go into it. Because it's a really special story how Madhavendra Puri blessed him to be able to receive, to have Lord Chaitanya, the Supreme Personality of God himself, as his disciple. And so this book, which is not a book, as Guru Dev reminds us, transcendental literatures, they are not simply a book, they are the personalities themselves. And so this book was compiled by Srila Bhakti Balatirtha Goswami Maharaj. He really such a gift to us to compile all the different, it compiles so much information about the life of Lord Chaitanya's associates.
He's up here too.
He's up there too. The second one. And so all of this he quotes directly from scripture. It's nothing is speculated. Nothing is like, oh, well, they might have done this, they might have done that. And what's kind of fun is you'll see, because probably will say, it always talks about the train stations. So, in fact, he starts off, Isvara Puri was born in the town of Kumarahata, on the full moon day of the month of Jyeshta, to a family of Brahmins hailing from Radarha. So, if he was born on the full moon day, it must have been his disappearance day recently. Because it was
It's almost a dark moon.
yeah. Kumarahata is in the 24 Paraganas district, which I don't know what that means. It's about 2 miles from the Halishar train station. This town is also important for Gaudiya Vaishnavas because Srivas Pandit and his brothers moved here after Mahaprabhu took sannyas. Srivas Pandit is one of the Panchatattva. He was a householder who was always chanting kirtans where the Lord performed kirtan constantly. So after Lord Chaitanya took sannyas, he was no longer living in that town of Navadvip. So Srivas Pandit and his brothers moved to this town because they were unable to see him and they were unable to tolerate all the painful reminders of him in Navadvip. The house of Srivas Pandit and his brothers is not far from the place, and Mukhopadhyaya neighborhood were in the not far from the place where Ishwara Puri was born. Ishwara Puri's birthplace is popularly known by the name Chaitanya Doba. The word Doba means a pool of water. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passed through Madhapata on his way to Puri, he showed respect for his spiritual master by picking up some earth from the place of his birth, wrapping it in his cloth, and taking it with him. Thousands of pilgrims have since followed his example, thus forming a pit that is since filled with water. So this is the mercy of the spiritual master. Ishwara Puri is a sannyas name. Though his name prior to taking sannyas is unknown, we do know that his father's name was Shyamasundara Acharya. Ishwara Puri took initiation from Madhavendra Puri, the embodiment of nectarian devotion of love. And special importance for us, Madhavendra Puri is the seed and the first sprout of Gopi Bhav, of the moods of the gopis in this rus entering into the world, which fully blossomed through the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. So Madhavendra Puri was pleased with Ishwara Puri's guileless, sincere, and affectionate service, and thus showered him with blessings, so that he too became immersed in the ocean of love for Krishna. If a disciple can satisfy his spiritual master, then he will be fortunate and attain all spaciousness and the fulfillment of all his desires. On the other hand, if the guru is unhappy with his disciple, then he will only know inauspiciousness. These teachings have been highlighted in the exemplary life of Madhavendra Puri. So, Ishwara Puri had a godbrother, Ramchandra Puri. But because of Ramchandra Puri's arrogance, he was bereft of his guru's grace. I'm going to see if it goes into, I'm going to have to imagine it does go into the details. Yeah, it does.
Is Puri a title of like a certain status or something?
I recall that it's a sannyas title.
Okay.
And so, I'm just going to go into the details. Well, I'll continue to read it, and if it doesn't, then I'll say after. So, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami describes the incident. So previously, when Madhavendra Puri was on his deathbed, Ramchandra Puri came to see him. Madhavendra Puri was singing the names of the Lord and crying out, "I have not attained Mathura." Ramchandra then began to instruct him. He had no compunction about doing so, even though he was a disciple. He said, Ramchandra Puri said to his guru, "Remember that you are completely full of the bliss of Brahman. Why are you crying like this despite being knowledgeable of your own Brahman nature?" So he's sharing with him Mayavadi philosophy. Even though his guru is there crying out to Krishna in these deep moods, his disciple, not understanding the philosophy, is saying, "Quit your crying, just focus on the absolute oneness, the big light." And when Madhavendra Puri heard this, he became angry and began to rebuke Ramchandra, saying, Get away, you most sinful rascal. I am dying from distress of not having received Krishna's mercy, of not having attained Mathura, which is Krishna's somewhat birthplace. It's anyway. And you come to add to my misery. Go wherever you like, but don't show your face to me again. If I see you while I am dying, I will take a lower birth. I am dying from the distress of not having attained Krishna, and this lowly fool is teaching about Brahman. Brahman again being that undifferentiated spiritual light. As a result, Madhavendra Puri withdrew his blessings from his disciple, who thenceforth started developing material desires. He became a dry philosopher without any interest in Krishna. Not only that, he became critical of everyone and devoted himself to fault finding. In fact, he ends up fault finding from in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, causing a lot of problems. Ishvara Puripada, on the other hand, served his guru, even personally cleaning his urine and feces. He continuously repeated the names of Krishna and recounted Krishna's pastimes to him. Madhavendra Puri was so pleased with Ishvara Puri that he embraced him and blessed him, saying, "May you have the treasure of love for Krishna." From that time onward, Ishvara Puri became an ocean of love for Krishna, while Ramchandra Puri became a mine of insults. These two personalities thus bear witness to the results of pleasing or displeasing a great soul. Madhavendra Puri taught this truth through them. In this connection, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada has written in his Anubhasya, his commentary, even though Ramchandra Puri saw his own guru's suffering and separation from Krishna, he was incapable of recognizing the transcendental nature of this transport of emotions. He judged his guru to be an ordinary man and took his mood to be mundane, the result of some material insufficiency. As a result, he tried to explain to him the value of experiencing oneness of Brahman. Madhavendra Puri reacted to his disciple's stupidity and disregard for his instructions, and thus stopped wishing for his welfare. He abandoned him and drove him away. And that reminds me of a verse from, I think it's from Srimad Bhagavatam, Acharya Mam Vijnaniyam, what's up? Acharya Mam Vijnaniyam, Navamanita Kareshit, Na Martra, Subhudhayeta, Sarva Deva Mayo Guru. So, and that means that this is Krishna speaking, and he says, one should know the Guru, the Acharya and the Guru to be my very own self. They are my very form. At no time should a person, out of envy, neglect or disrespect Sri Guru, thinking him to be an ordinary mortal, because Sri Guru has all the potency and all the qualities of all the demigods. So, Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It has no need. So this next section is called Mahaprabhu takes initiation from Ishvara Puri. Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and has no need for any teacher. Even so, he wishes to teach the world that it is absolutely necessary to take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. For this reason, he played the role of a disciple by taking initiation from Ishvara Puri when he met him at Gai. This in itself shows beyond a doubt Ishvara Puri's greatness and importance. Then the Lord went to Gai, where he met Ishvara Puri. After taking, and this is a quote from Chaitanya Charitamrita, after taking initiation from him, he started to display the signs of love of God, and when he returned to his homeland, he began to engage in the pastimes of divine love. More from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is now from the Chaitanya Bhagavat. When they met, Mahaprabhu and Ishvara Puri were overcome by the ecstasy of love and drenched each other in tears of prema that fell from their eyes. Prema is transcendental love. The Lord said, "My pilgrimage to Gai is successful, for today I have seen your lotus feet." When one makes the pinda offering to the ancestors at a holy place, then that ancestor is delivered, which is what Mahaprabhu was doing. He was performing a pinda sacrifice for his father, Jagannath Mishra. But simply by seeing Ishvara Puri, 10 million ancestors are delivered from all forms of bondage in a single moment. Therefore, no holy place is your equal, and you are the primary source of auspiciousness for even the holy places. Please lift me up from the ocean of material suffering. I offer this body to your service. The only gift I ask of you is that you give me the nectar of Krishna's lotus feet. And that reminds me of two quotes. One from Srimad Bhagavatam. The Sanskrit is escaping me, but it's that, my dear, this is King Yudhisthira speaking to Vidura. Similarly says that, my dear good sir, Persons such as your good self, seeing a Vaishnava, are barely holy places personified. Because you carry the Supreme Lord within your heart, you make all places into places of pilgrimage. I've traditionally heard how we go to holy sites, the places of pilgrimage, to meet with these holy sadhus. And these sadhus, by their presence, they purify those holy places from all the sins and baggage that we bring.
What does the Pinda sacrifice entail? Do you know?
Mahaprabhu was acting like an ordinary mortal, a pilgrim who had come to Gai to offer the Shraddha oblations for his deceased father. On that day, he performed these rituals, he returned to his room and began to cook. When Isvara Puri came and placed his holy feet in Mahaprabhu's room, Mahaprabhu personally served him the rice and vegetables that he himself had cooked with great satisfaction. In so doing, Mahaprabhu demonstrated most perfectly how to serve the Guru. How cool is that, too? Lord Chaitanya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, cooked and made him rice and sabji, and then fed it to him. Wow. Isvara Puri, so this is now Isvara Puri and Navadvip. So Isvara Puri had met Mahaprabhu in Navadvip even prior to giving him the 10-syllable mantra in Gai, which would be I believe the Gopal mantra. But I think it was like I've heard that it was a shorter, because Gopal mantra is I think 16 syllables. So it was like a slightly, anyway. He also met with Advaita Acharya, who had similarly played the role of Madhavendra Puri's disciple. Vrindavan Das Thakur has described this meeting in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. Once, Isvara Puri passed through Navadvip when Nimai was still engaged in his pastimes as a student. He stayed there for a few months in the house of Gopinath Acharya as his guest. One day he saw Nimai was most impressed and attracted by his bodily beauty. So Isvara Puri is impressed and so attracted by the Lord's beauty. Nimai invited Isvara Puri to his house to eat and had his mother Sashi cook and serve him Krishna Prasad. Then he and Isvara Puri began to talk about Krishna. Isvara Puri also met Gadadhar Pandit and was pleased when he saw the depth of his renunciation. He started affectionately giving him lessons from Sri Krishna Lilamrita, a book of his own composition. Nimai would also come daily to Gopinath Acharya's house to visit Isvara Puri while he was teaching Gadadhar and offering his obeisances. One day, Isvara Puri asked Nimai to correct any mistakes that were in his book. Nimai answered, "Anyone who finds fault with the devotee's descriptions of Krishna is a sinner. If a devotee writes a poem, no matter how poorly he does it, it will certainly contain his love for Krishna. A fool says Vishnaya, while a scholar knows the correct form is Vishnave. But Krishna accepts, so those I believe are two. Vishnave would be on to Vishnu. So I'm going to guess Vishnaya is a similar, but a different, a non-scholarly grammatic way to say it. But Krishna accepts the sentiment in either case. If anyone sees a fault in this, the fault is his. For Krishna is pleased with anything the pure devotee says. You too describe the Lord with words of love. So what arrogant person would dare criticize anything that you have written? And so the same incident is described in Narahari Chakravarti's Bhakti Ratnakara in the following way. So look here, this is the house of Gopinath Acharya, where Vishnu would visit from time to time. Isvara Puripada stayed here for a while and composed his book, Sri Krishna Lilamrita. He had great affection for Gadadhar Pandit, and when he saw the symptoms of love for Krishna in him, he taught him that book. When Nityananda Prabhu was traveling in the west of India, he instantly met Madhavendra Puri there. When the two met, they fainted. Nityananda was overcome by love and started to describe Madhavendra Puri's glories, while Madhavendra Puri himself embraced Nityananda and wet him with his tears. Isvara Puripada understood that Nityananda was extremely dear to his spiritual master, and so, like his Guru's other disciples, held him in great affection and felt deep love for him. All glories to Madhava Puri, the ocean of love for Krishna. It was the first shoot of the desire tree of devotion. That first shoot was nourished and grew in the form of Ishvara Puri, and from him the thick trunk of Chaitanya Leela took shape. Before he left this world, Ishvara Puri sent two of his disciples, Kashishvara and Govinda, to serve Mahaprabhu. Even though they were his godbrothers, Mahaprabhu still obeyed the order of his spiritual master and accepted them as his servants. So, on this auspicious day of, I believe, the disappearance of Shri Ishvara Puripada, pray for his mercy to be able to serve our spiritual master with the love and devotion that he did, so that we too may become blessed and receive prasad cooked directly by the Lord himself. And yeah. For Brahman, any questions? That was.
He's up there, Ishwar.
No, he would be like pretty far up the line. He would actually pass Lord Chaitanya. So like he is the guru of Lord Chaitanya.
Okay. We don't have a picture of him.
He was in. It was before their photos.
Oh, wow.
This was like the late 1400s, early 1500s.
Okay.
In fact, let's see if it said what the date was, what the year was. It didn't say the year.
Ishwar Puri.
Ishvara Puri.
Ishwara Puri. Yeah, I'm surprised I hadn't heard of him before. The guru of Lord Chaitanya. Amazing.
Cool.
Thanks.
Yeah, this is a really great resource to learn so many of the different associates of Lord Chaitanya. And the more time that you are here in this temple, because of the importance of honoring the Vaishnavas on their day, every time it's somebody's day on the calendar, we read through about them.
Ishvara Puri too, he's different than the Mayavad guru who like later gets him sannyas.
Yeah. That's Keshava Bharati. Keshava Bharati is the Mayavad guru who gives Lord Chaitanya sannyas. Ishvara Puri earlier on gives him initiation into a 10-syllable mantra.
But the whispering in the ear, that's with Keshava Bharati.
Right.
Okay, got it. That makes sense.
What happened with that? What's the whisper?
When Lord Chaitanya received sannyas, in the first 24 years of Lord Chaitanya's life, he was a householder, performed the pastimes of a householder, but realizing that if he was going to really, in order to deliver all the living entities, he had to take sannyas, because otherwise many people were being offensive, not understanding that he was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he went to receive sannyas initiation. And he actually received sannyas initiation from a Mayavad guru, from Keshava Bharati. So even though he received sannyas from a Mayavadi guru, he actually told this guru which mantra to give him. So when he met with him, he said, "Oh," he like whispered in his ear, "Oh, what's this mantra you're going to give me?" And at that time, he gave this Gopi mantra to Keshava Bharati, who then gave it back to him.
Oh, wow.
Interesting. And then what happened?
Well, that's it. Why are we listening to it? So that's then like the rest of Chaitanya Charitamrita. So that's kind of the end of, I believe this is the end of the Adi Leela. So there's 3, Adi, Madhya, and Antya, which means beginning, middle, and end. Leela from Chaitanya Charitamrita. The first part of it talks mostly about Lord Chaitanya's early childhood pastimes. It's the shortest one because Chaitanya Bhagavat, it goes into detail about his early childhood and householder pastimes, but not so much when he leaves Navadvip and goes to Puri. Comparatively, Chaitanya Charitamrita is mostly about after he takes sannyas and those pastimes in Korea and around India.
And you said he lived a householder life up until age 24. Was he married?
Mm-hmm. Vishnu Priya and Lakshmi Priya Devi. His first wife died. I think she died of. She might have been bit by a snake, actually. And then, but it might have been the snake of separation. That's I'll look back because his first wife would be Vishnu Priya.
Oh, because she knew he was going to take sannyas.
I don't actually think so. I think that it was at a different time because I think it was Lakshmi Priya who was with him when he took sannyas. Let me see if they are in. They must be in this book. They might be in a different book. Lord Chaitanya's Associates.
And Jagannath Mitra, that's Shamrani Didi gave my friend that name, but I thought it was actually Krishna's father's name. It's Chaitanya, Lord Chaitanya's.
Mm-hmm. Krishna's dad is Nanda Baba.
Okay.
What's that? This? These look like the same book, but they actually might be different.
Oh.
This might have information on Vishnu Priya and Lakshmi Priya. This has more.
And who compiled that book?
Srila Bhakti Ballabh Tirtha Goswami Maharaj.
He's up there
Mm-hmm. He's the one.
at the very end.
The second from the end.
Well,
And so,
are we counting the absent photo?
no.
Okay.
Okay, so Vishnu Priya is here. I believe. Actually, I think Vishnu Priya was the second one. But anyway.
Why is there no?
Isn't it like one of them, she had to leave because she wouldn't have let him take sannyas?
Let's see, because Lakshmi Priya was the first wife, but she's not in this book. So let's see, what does it say? So, Mahaprabhu's first wife, Lakshmi Priya, left the world early. That's all it says. In order to support his mother, Mahaprabhu made a trip to Eastern Bengal to teach students. However, he was away longer than planned, and Lakshmi Priya Devi found it impossible to tolerate his absence, so meditating on his lotus feet, she departed from this world. When Mahaprabhu finally arrived back in Navadvip, he found his mother grieving for her in-law and consoled her. So, his first wife was Lakshmi Priya Devi, and she died of separation from him. She left her body as separation from him, and his second wife was Vishnu Priya Devi.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Gorpamanande.
Harimo.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Bo, Hare Bo, Hare Bo, Nitai Gauda, Hare Bo, Nitai Gauda, Hare Bo, Hare Bo.
What does that mean?
Gore,
It's
like the blissful love, the bliss of the love from Gore, Lord Chaitanya.
Lord Chaitanya.
I'm not sure if it means the bliss of love from him or the